Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video we're gonna be working on this dress. You may have seen this dress all over social media, and this is a dress that everybody's recreating of Taylor Swift. I think she wore it a couple of months ago, a month ago, but it's been doing its rounds through social media, and of course almost all crocheters are probably trying to recreate that. This is my recreation here. This is my version of it. The colors are not the same, so I just went with colors that I had already and colors that I think would go together, and this is the outcome of it here. Okay, so we're using the same stitch, however, but I did modify the stitch so that it's a little bit kind of unique to me. So I will show you how to do it in a different way. So we're using the granny stitch here to do this. So it depends on different people what kind of yarn you use. You may be doing it the way I do, or you may be doing it a different way completely. And you will notice here that the neckline is not like the way Taylor Swift has, which is the neckline dropping in the front a little bit here. I'm just doing mine straight so that it's just a neckline that goes right straight across your neck or your collarbone, and in the back it just goes straight in the back. Okay, so this is what we're gonna be working on. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so for this project we're going to be using all of these materials that I have displayed here. So as you can see, these are the 4 colors that I'm using for this dress. The first one is this orange, so all this is from the exact same brand, so I'm just going to be talking about the difference in color, and that's pretty much about it. So this is from Azurite. It's 100% acrylic. It's a lightweight number 3. And this color here is 7. I call it orange, but that's what the color number is. This is 50 grams or 140 meters for this skein here. And crochet hook recommended is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, so this is this here. This is exact same information, except the color is 31882. Again, this is the exact same. They just have a little bit of a spin off of this, I guess, but it's pretty much the same, but by Timmins. But everything is the same, and the color number for this is 0579, and then the color number for this one here is 3025. Okay, so I have also placed these colors in the order that I'm gonna be using them. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about that in just a second. I'm using a 5 millimeter crochet hook, and that's why I just it's a preference, so I just wanted to use it so that I have something fluffs. So I have something that is a little bit loose, and I can control my tension really well, so it's not gonna be too big for this yarn here. I have my scissors to be able to cut my strings. I have a darning needle here because we need one to join our panels. Some stitch markers, have them around because you will need to mark where you need to either separate things or leave them open. And then of course a tape measure to be able to determine our size. Okay, so for the ordering of the numbers, so I'm gonna try to write somewhere on the screen here how I order my numbers, and then we repeat that. So I'm just gonna talk about it really quick. So I'm gonna start with this orange color here. I'm going to do two rows of this orange color, and that is after our foundation chain. So not counting the foundation chain, I'm gonna do 2 rows of this. Then I'm gonna hop into this color here and do 1 row, then do 1 row in this color, go back to this color and do 1 row, 1 row back to this color, 1 row to this color, and then that's it. So we do 5 rows between these guys here, between these two. So there should be 3 rows, different rows of this, and 2 rows of this. So we start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we hop on to do the red, and then we're gonna do 4 rows of the red, and then we repeat. So I'm gonna write it somewhere here so you guys understand what I'm talking about. Okay, but this is pretty much all we need for now. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so we're gonna get started with this project. So again, like I said, we're starting with this orange color. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a slip knot so we can start our foundation chain. Okay, so that's my slip knot, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about how you get the size that you want in terms of the length. So we're actually working on the long side of the dress, and we have 2 panels to do for the body of the dress, and then we're gonna have 2 panels to do for the sleeves. Okay, so I'm gonna start by this work starts by we're starting by multiples of 3 plus 4. So at the end we're gonna do 4 extra stitches. So you're gonna measure to see how long you want your dress to be. So for this one here, I want it to go just right above my knees. Okay, so not too short, not too long, but just so it doesn't cover my knees, it's just right above it. And I calculated that, and it's gonna pretty much, and we calculate it from your collarbone. So okay, you take your tape measure, you place it right on your collarbone, and then you let the tape measure drop all the way to where you want it to fall in terms of down, how far down it goes, how long or short you want it to be. And whatever that length is, you're going to do your foundation chain that is equivalent to that, give and take a few inches here and there. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing multiples of 3 plus 4, and my calculation came up to probably about 130, yeah, about 130 chains. So which mean the multiples of 3 take me to 126, and then I add the extra 4 to make it 130. Okay, so I'm gonna get started here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1. Okay, my lovelies. So this is my chain of 130. Okay. So this is pretty much it all here. It's long. It goes to where I want it to go in terms of my measurement. And of course, for you, it could be a longer chain depending on how long you want your dress to be. It could be a shorter chain depending on how short you want your dress to be. And again, for those of you who are new, I'm about small, medium. So this is about the size that I make. But again, I don't really recommend that you follow my sizing measurement, because you could be exactly my size in terms of medium to a large, medium to small to medium, but you could be either long legs and short torso. It could be, it just doesn't make sense to follow somebody else's instructions in terms of sizes, because you could just be a different type of small, medium versus I am. Okay, so always measure. This is why I don't say for this many chains is for a small, this many chain is for medium, this many chain is for a large, and so on and so forth, because it doesn't, all of these sizes can vary depending on the type of body that the person has. All right, so now that I have talked about that, I'm gonna now start our first row. Okay, so we're gonna start by just counting 1, 2, 3. So those 3 stitches we skip. So we're starting from this, not the one the hook is coming through, not this here, but 1, 2, 3 we skip. And in the 4th one, which is right here, we're gonna go in the back of that loop of that chain and complete a double crochet. So it's the back loop double crochet like that. Okay, so this chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then the double crochet we just did here is a double crochet. Okay, then you're gonna chain 1, and you're going to skip 2, so 1, 2 stitches, and in the 3rd you're going to go in the back and complete 1 double crochet, then go right back into the same stitch and complete your 2nd double crochet. So you have your 2 double crochets here, your 2 double crochets at the beginning, chain 1, 2 double crochets next, and then we're going to chain 1 again. We're just going to skip 1, 2 in the 3rd. We're going to go in and complete 2 double crochets. So this particular one here, I'm not doing a cluster of 3 double crochets for the granny stitch. I'm doing 2 just because I'm using an acrylic yarn, and I don't want it to be kind of too bulky or too tight, okay? Or too hot. So I chain 1 again, I skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd, I go in and complete 2 double crochets. Just like this, and like this. Okay, chain 1, skip 1, 2 in the 3rd, go in the back and complete 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Okay, so this is the granny stitch that we're using for this dress here. Okay, so this is the appearance, this is how it's gonna look like. Okay, so do this all the way to the end of your foundation chain, which would complete our first row. And then when you have done that, come back to the video and I will see you then, so I can show you how to start the second row. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed this first row here for this granny stitch dress. And as you can see, for the final stitch here, I just did 1 double crochet as opposed to 2. So make sure you're not doing 2 in the final stitch, you just do 1 double crochet. Okay, so this is how it should look so far for the first row. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to start the second row. For this second row, we're going to do a chain of 3 again. So 1, 2, 3. we're gonna turn, and in this gap, chain 1 gap from the previous row here, we're gonna go right into that and complete a double crochet. Okay, so again, our chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then we do a double crochet, and this should be kind of like a cluster like this together here. And then we do a chain 1 and we skip over, so we skip these 2 stitches and we go straight into the chain 1 from the previous row, and then in that gap there we go and complete 2 double crochets. Okay, and you're not going into the stitch itself, you're going under, so you're just going straight under to grab your yarn to do a double crochet, and then you chain 1 and you do that in the next chain 1 gap from the previous row. So in this case here, you're just still skipping 2 stitches and then doing a double crochet in the third, but doing 2 double crochets and then chaining 1, skipping 2 stitches, going into the chain 1 area and completing 2 double crochets, and then you just continue like that. So this is how your second row should be. So you're gonna do this all the way to the end here. So complete it all the way to this last chain 1 gap here. When you have completed your 2 double crochets here, come back to the video. I will show you how to complete this row, and then we're gonna start our third row, and we're also gonna be changing color at that point, because remember, as I told you, we're doing 2 rows in the orange, and then we're gonna switch it to the dark brown color, and then we're gonna go on and continue changing the color after that. Okay, but for now, just get to the end here and then come back to the video, and I will show you how to start the third row. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so I have completed my second row here. So as you can see, this is how it looks. So pretty much something very simple. Okay, so all the way to here. So as I said, finish here, do your 2 double crochets and then come back. So we do have to put a stitch at the end here. So we do our chain 1, and then we're going to go on top of that chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. So on top of that chain 3, just grab your loop and then complete a double crochet there. So that's how you stop it there. Okay, and now that we're going to be changing color, we're going to pretty much end this color here for now. So I'm gonna cut my yarn somewhere here. I'm gonna remove that, and then we're going to go to this color here. So this is the little bit of a, I'm not sure what this color is called, but it's kind of like a little bit of a brownish color. But anyways, so we're gonna go and grab some of this yarn here, and then we're gonna do 1 single row of that. I'm gonna put this away so there's no accidents. And then we're going to go and change it to the lighter, kind of like I guess it's like a grayish, a light gray. So I'm gonna show you how to do that here. So how I change color, so for those of you, by the way, who change color differently, go ahead and follow that technique. The way I do it is I just remove the last stitch that I looped in here, and now that I have it like that, I bring my yarn that I'm changing to, and I just bring that in like this. So I have these 2 here that are hanging here. Then I will go ahead and do a chain of 2, of 3, so just like that, and then I'm gonna turn, and then in this stitch here I'm going to complete 1 double crochet. So that chain 1 gap at the from the previous row. So again, as you can see here, the first row we started exactly the same. So we have a chain 3, and then we have a double crochet that goes in that same gap. So this is our double crochet here, a double crochet, and then we're going to do a chain 1, skip the 2 double crochets here and go into the chain 1 gap and complete 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2, chain 1, repeat. Okay, and you just go into the next stitch here and complete 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip 2 double crochets, go into the chain 1 gap and complete 2 double crochets, and then you just again repeat this all the way to the end. So okay, so this is how this color looks like. What I also do after I change colors here, just so it's not like it's not pulling too much or you don't end up unraveling your work, I just do a knot here. Okay, a knot or 2. Don't pull it too hard, just a little bit, and then leave it like this. And we're gonna weave this at the end. We're gonna weave it in at the end. Okay, so we repeat this all the way to the end, and you're gonna go all the way you're gonna go all the way to the end. So you're gonna complete your 2 double crochets right here, and then you're gonna go and do a chain 1 and go on top of the chain 3 to do your final double crochet, and then we're gonna change color again. So go all the way to this end here. When you have reached here, I'm gonna come back to show you how to change the color again. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed this row in this color here. So as you can see, this is how that color change looks like. So we're gonna change color here again. So I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm gonna cut the yarn somewhere there, put my scissors away, and then I'm gonna go with this color, the light one. Okay, so this guy here. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and start winding my yarn in my finger here as I do. And again, just so you guys are aware, this is obviously the colors that I chose to do. You can obviously choose any colors of your choice, and you can kind of like order them in the way you like. So again, here I just remove that last stitch that we do, and then I go in and add my color change, and then I chain 3, I turn, and then in this gap here I go in and complete a double crochet. Your chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then now we have our second one there. And then I'm going to do a chain 1, skip into the next gap right here, and complete 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip to the next gap. So you guys kind of understand now the flow of work here. So you're repeating pretty much the exact same stitches, except the color change is different. Okay, and we're just gonna do this again all the way to the end of the row, and then when we have gone to the end of the row, we change the color again. So we're gonna go back to this color, and we alternate these 2 colors 5 times. So we do this color here, and then this color, back to the darker color, and then the light color, and then we finish the 5th row with this dark color before we change and go with the red one. Okay, so I'm not gonna show you how to do the next the 4th one, this second one, and the next couple of ones, because it's just literally a matter of changing colors until you have that alternation completed. And then after that, I will come back to the camera to show you guys how to change and go now with the red color, because that's going to be the next color we do after the 5 of this. We're going to do the red one. Okay, so go ahead and complete this number of rows, the alternation here, and then when you have done that, come back to the video and I will show you how to start the red. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the 5 rows, the alternation here. So as you can see, that is how those 5 rows are alternated. And so I'm gonna obviously cut the yarn here, so just somewhere there like that. And now we're going to bring in our red so we can do a number of rows in the red. Okay, so I have my red yarn here, then I'm gonna start. So I'm not gonna finish these 4 rows with you. I'm gonna have you guys pretty much work that until you finish 4 rows, and then we're gonna repeat. Okay, so you're gonna start to work some of these offline. So I'm gonna again go and change my color to the red. I will chain 3. So you're always chaining 3 at every beginning of every row. You're chaining 3 to start your rows, and then you go right into the next chain 1 gap, complete your double crochet, chain 1, skip to the next gap and complete 2 double crochets in that gap, chain 1, and then again you repeat that until you go all the way to the end, and then you chain 3, turn, and then repeat that for 4 rows. So this, for this red color here, we're going to do 4 rows. Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly stop here. So as you can see, we're gonna do 4 rows of this, and then after we have 4 rows of this, we repeat the pattern from that point on. So we go back to the orange, we do 2 rows of orange, we do 5 rows of these 2 colors interchangeably like that, and then we do 4 rows of the red, and then we repeat. And now it depends on how loose you want your dress. You're going to repeat this until it comes a point when you need to stop. And for me, I will make sure I end with the orange color here. Okay, so go ahead and work your repeats, and then when you have reached the whiteness of it, or the looseness or the tightness, depending on how you want it to fit. So for example, this is gonna pretty much fall down like this on our body. You want this to be something that will be half of your circumference. Okay, and we want this dress to look loose, just like it looks on Taylor Swift here. So you would want it to be on the loose side. So right now I'm probably going to repeat this pattern here 3 times. So in other words, I'm going to do these rows, and these rows, and then repeat a second set, and then repeat a third set, and then see how it looks. And if it doesn't fit me, I will repeat a few more rows after that to make it the size that I want. But I want you guys to just be aware that you end it with the same color, so that when we join it, it's not this color versus a red one or whatever. It could work as well, but for my preference, I'm gonna make sure I end with 2 rows in the orange. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on our panel here. When we have what we need, we're gonna come back, and I will do the same. I'll come back when I have the size that I need. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my panel. So as you guys can see here, this is pretty much what I repeated. So this is where we started here. I'm sorry, I'm putting the whole work here on camera. So so this is the 2 rows we started with here, and then this alternation here, and then 4 rows in the red, and then we repeated by going back to do 2 rows in the orange, 5 rows in these 2 colors. And what I did for this one here, which was completely accidental, I ended up doing 5 rows in the middle instead of 4. By the time I discovered, I was already over here, so I was not gonna unravel the whole thing to correct it. So I just left it like that. So for this middle section, I did 5 rows as opposed to 4, but nevertheless, and then I just did 2 rows in the orange, and then I did these rows here again. But as you guys will notice here, after I did my red and orange, and then I did my 5 alternation of this color here, I did red, and normally after the red comes orange. So we would have had the orange here, but if I did the orange here and this size was not enough for me, then I would have had to repeat all of this set here again. So what I did was I just did not do the orange right after the red. I went straight to doing the 5 rows here and then finishing it up with the orange, because I told you I really wanted to finish it with the orange. So as you can see, this is pretty much what it looks like, with the exception of this side here. There's no orange right after the red, which is fine with me. Okay, so this is my 1 panel completed, and as you guys can see, this is pretty much where I change all the colors here, and then this is the other side as well, where I change the colors as well. Okay, so I haven't decided what to do, whether I should do like some kind of a border here just to make it neat. I may, but for now I'm just gonna pack these on the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started with our second panel for the body. Okay, when I come back, I will probably just talk a little bit about how we do the sleeves, because it's going to be the same, and then that way I don't have to repeat by showing you guys how to start all over. I will just talk about how we do the sleeve portion of it. Okay, I will see you guys when you have completed your second panel for the body. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my panels here. So I'm just gonna quickly show you one of the body panels, and that is it here. So as you can see, this is pretty much it. So again, the way we order the numbers is exactly how I showed you at the beginning. The only difference here with this panel is that I have gone ahead and done a row of half double crochets on each end here, just to make it nice and neat. And the reason I did this is because I'm going to be joining the panels with this orange color, and I did not want to have to go through all the other different colors, either changing from one color to the other when I'm joining, or to go through with the same exact yarn all the way across. Okay, so this is just for me to keep my work a little bit neat. It's not an obligation to do that. If you want to do it the way I did, I will show you how to. Okay, so as you can see, again, like I said, I did a row of half double crochets along the bottom and along the top. Now I'm going to show you the second panel that I completed as well. So this is my second body panel here. So when we left off, we had completed one together, with the exception of these, like I said, the border here. But I have gone ahead and completed my second panel. So I'm going to put this on the side so I can talk about the size a little bit here. So for what I did for myself here, which is going to be for my size, which is small medium, the length of this with the small border that I did is about 34 inches. So the length like this is 34 inches. So that's how long my dress will be. And then if I measure the width is about 20 inches. Okay, So 20 inches for the width and then 34 inches for the length. Okay, so that's done for our panels for the body. I said again in the previous clip that I'm not going to show you how to do the sleeves because we do the same thing. But what I will do though, I will show you the one that I completed here. Okay, so for the panel for our body, we did multiples of 3 plus 4, and we came up to about 130 chains to begin the dress. Okay, that was the length of our dress. For the sleeve here, the panel for the sleeve, I did a chain of 73 or 72, and that is because I'm doing multiples of 3 plus 4. Okay, so that is what my sleeve here is. Now if we go back to doing the measurements really quick here again, just like we did the body, the length of my sleeve here, including the border again, because I did the border for these as well, is about 18 inches for the width, for the length, sorry, and it is about 15 inches for the width. Okay, so how do you determine how long you want your sleeve to be? What you're going to do is you're going to measure the length of your arm. Okay, and so for me, I measured the length of my arm just right under my armpit, because I think it's more accurate if we do it from the armpit. So I put the tape measure right underneath my armpit, and then I measure it all the way to how long I want it. And then that's the measurements that I come with here. Okay, so my measurement for my arm is about 18 inches. Okay, so this one here is about 18 with a little bit of a half, maybe let's say 18 and a half. So that's going to be the length of my sleeve. Okay, what I did as well was I also make sure that I incorporate how wide my dress is going to be. So if my dress is going to take some of my arm, then I have to calculate that into it as well. Okay, so that is what you need for the measurements for that, and that's how long you're gonna do, or how you're gonna determine how long you need to do your sleeve. Okay, for the pattern that we did for the sleeve, I'm gonna leave this here so you guys can see what I did. Okay, so after doing my chain of 72, I ended up doing my work just exactly like we did the body. That's why I'm not showing you how to do it. And then I just did the pattern like this. So I did 2 rows in the orange, and then I did 5 rows of these 2 colors alternated like this, just like we did the body. I did 5 rows in the red, and then I went back to doing the 2 rows in the orange. Then I went back to alternating these 2 colors for 5 rows, and then I went back to doing 5 rows in the red, and then 2 rows in the orange again, and I finished it off with 5 rows of the 2 colors alternated. Okay, so when I fold my sleeve and to join it to the work, it's gonna look like this. And for this here, I'm gonna still use the orange color to join it, and this is gonna be the part that goes right from under my armpit. So it's gonna go like this. So this will be my armpit right here, and then it's gonna go like this. Okay, so I'll be able to put it on like this. Okay, so just remember this order of the colors here and how many rows I did so that you can follow this. If you don't want to follow this, it's absolutely up to you. You can pattern these colors however you want, but just make sure you're respecting the pattern that is also for the body of the dress, so that it kind of flows together, so that it doesn't look like you're doing a completely different color pattern on the sleeves versus the body. Okay, so this is my 3rd completed panel. So I'm not showing you guys how to do this because it's literally the same as the body, with the exception of how long we're doing the sleeve. Now I'm gonna put that away, and then I'm gonna bring in the 2nd sleeve that I have not fully completed. I've finished the rows that I've done, but I need to show you how to do the borders because I have not done that yet. I want to show you how to do the borders so that you can do it just like we did for the body, and the 2 sleeves for the body, or the 2 panels for the body, and the 1 panel for the arms so far. So as you can see, I did pretty much the same pattern as I did for the first panel for the arm. And now that I've reached here, I'm going to pretty much finish this off by cutting off this yarn here. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my hook. I'm gonna do a chain 1 and slip stitch. Okay, And as you can see, I have all of these hanging yarns. This was the same as the two panels body, the body panels, the same thing for the arm as well, because we're changing colors quite frequently. We have all of this. So what I did was I knotted all of them here. I just did like 2 to 3 knots so that it stays secure. And so what I'm gonna do now is just cut them off. And all I do is I just hold these here and I just cut off these hanging strings here, okay? And keep in mind, I already knotted them so that they don't come apart. And make sure when you're knotting them, you're not pulling them too hard so that not to wrinkle up your work. And make sure you're not cutting this way too, like with a lot of the material left. Make sure you cut it close enough to where you knotted it, but not too close that you're gonna cause it to unravel, okay? So I'm gonna do this for all of it, including on the other side. And when I have cut off all these little strings hanging, I'm gonna come back so I can show you how to do the border that we did on the body panels and the sleeve panel that we have completed so far. I will come back to you when I've cut off all of these things here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have just chopped up all the strings that were hanging on each side of my work here, and this is literally what you will do for all the panels. So I'm just showing you how to do it on one, but you're going to be able to do this on all 4 panels, okay? So now that I have done that, I'm going to get this color because that's the color that I would like to use to do the little border here and on the other side. So I just need to grab that, and then I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. So I'm gonna do a slip knot, and this slip knot is gonna be to allow me to work my stitches here to connect the yarn to the body of the work. So I start on this side here. It doesn't matter what side you start it with, as long as you start from one side, go all the way to the end, and then repeat it on the other side. So with that, I'm just going to go on top of this stitch right here. I'm gonna just go right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a chain of 1, okay? And I'm gonna leave this here so I can weave it later. In this gap here, I'm going to do 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2, and the chain 1 that you did here does not count as a stitch. And then what I will do is I will go into this stitch here, or into this gap. There's no stitches at all. We're just kind of going into the gap and do 1 half double crochet here. And then you're gonna skip to the other side here and do 2 half double crochets. And the reason I decided to do it like this is so that, because if I do 2 double crochets in each of these gaps here, it makes it so that there's too many of them, and then it's gonna make this section here kind of flare out like that, and I don't want that. So I do 2 half double crochets here. In the next gap here, I do just 1 half double crochet. Then I move to the next gap and I will do 2 half double crochets. And then in the next here, I will do 1. Okay, so again, like I said, there's nothing that this is not like something that it has to be a must. It's just so that we are gapping it out properly. So I did 1 here, so which means in this next gap here, I'll do 2. Then I'll do 1 here. In the next gap here, I do 2 half double crochets. Then I'll go into the next and do 1. Then I'll do 2 in this gap. So literally just kind of alternating from doing 1 and then in the next gap doing 2, doing 1 in one gap, doing 2 in the next. Okay, so this is pretty much how it looks like. So when I do that, this is what it looks like. Your whole objective here is to make sure that this is actually straight and not going to flare out like this too much, because if you do 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 on every single gap, then it creates this portion here to be a little bit too wide, and that's not what we want. Okay, so I'm going to continue alternating these all the way to the end. So there should be 2 at the end here. So no matter if this is 2 here, just do 2 at the end here too, because you want the end here to have the sharpness and not to kind of wrinkle in like this. Okay, so go ahead and complete it to the end here, and I will show you how it looks, and then we will complete the other side as well. And then when that's done, all we need to do is just join our panels, and I will show you how we do that. Okay, I will see you guys in a second. Okay, my lovelies, so I have done the border here all the way to the end. So as you can see, I'm gonna do one more thing here, just realizing what I will do is I will just go into the last stitch here. I will grab the top of this stitch and complete another half double crochet there, just to round up my corner here properly, because I feel like it's looking like it's lacking that finish like this. Okay, So I'm gonna do it like that, and then what I will do is I'll take a scissors, I'll cut in my yarn, and then I'll slip stitch here to finish these off like that. Okay, so as you can see, this side is done, and then all I need to do is just flip my work like this and do the same from here all the way to here again, just the exact same thing we just did. And then weave in your ends. I'm gonna weave in my ends here that we just cut off, and then when all that is done, come back to the video and I will show you how to start, or I will start to explain how we join our panels together, and then we will do that as well. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the borders here. So as you can see, that's how it looks, nice and straight and ready to be joined. So this is the second sleeve that I have completed, and that's the first one that we have here. Okay, so again, in terms of the length, it's exactly the same, and that's what you want. So make sure you're always keeping track of how many foundation chains you're doing to start each panel, just to make sure at the end you don't have one that is shorter or longer than the other. Okay, so these are my 2 panels here for the sleeves. Okay, and as you can see, the sleeve is gonna be really big and buggy, so this is pretty much how it's gonna fall on my arm, you know, and kind of obviously we want to make sure it resembles the one that Taylor Swift has in terms of the looseness of it and things like that. We can always do other versions that are maybe tighter, longer, however, even sweater versions in a later time, but for now this is, we're gonna do it kind of closer to her. So I'm gonna put these 2 panels on the side. We're gonna work with the body panels for joining first. Okay, so all you're gonna need to do is, for this case here, literally they're the same, like both sides are exactly the same, so you don't have to stress too much about what side goes where and things like that. So all I'm doing is I'm putting one panel down like this, and then I grab the second panel and I'm going to put the second panel down just on top of it, pretty much like this. Okay, just like that. And we know that this is gonna be the top of our dress. Okay, and then the other side all the way here is going to be the bottom, but we don't need to do anything with the bottom. We're gonna be working with the top part of it here. Okay, and so when you have your 2 panels down like this, and as you can see, the colors here are matching pretty much like this. Okay, you see that here, and you're going to start to use your stitch markers at this moment. So grab your stitch markers. What I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna flip this like this, because I will want this side here to be my inside side eventually, just because I see a lot more of the strings that I cut showing here. So what I will do is I will actually, I'm gonna just recorrect myself here. We're gonna keep it like this, because when we join, we're gonna be joining on the side that is actually gonna end up being the outside of the dress eventually. So I'm actually correct in that sense here. And we do this one by putting this side on top like this. Okay, I may be confusing you here, but seriously, I'm just being a little bit too picky. I don't have to do exactly what I'm doing here, but I see these parts here that are showing, and so I'm just going to be a little bit picky and say that I'm going to keep these sides up on this panel and down on the other panel, because when we join, we're going to end up flipping it so that this side becomes the inside of the dress and the other side becomes the outside of the dress. Okay, all right, so we have our dress like this, and as you can see, the neckline that I'm doing is not at all the neckline that Taylor Swift dress has. Mine is just going to be straight like this. I think hers has a fall in like this in the front. I am not doing that. We are doing something for beginners, and I want the beginners to feel comfortable doing this and not have to worry about how we decrease to create the front of the dress here. Now, all you will need to do is determine what you want for your neckline, okay? So I am already kind of determining that this is probably how I want my neckline, which means I close this section here and I close this section here, and this middle here is where my neck is gonna come through. I want it to be loose so that my dress can be a little bit playful and loose. I don't want it to be too tight that my neckline literally touches my neck, or the dress itself actually touches my neck. So what I will do here then, with that said, I grab my stitch markers and I'm going to put the stitch marker right where the red starts, right here, that stitch, and on the other side it's exactly the same, so I just match it up like this. Okay, and then on this side I do the exact same, so kind of where the red starts off here, and on the other side where red starts off here. Okay, so as you can see, oops, let's do that again. There you go. So as you can see, this is straight here. I'm going to be working by closing this here, and as you can see here as well, this is very straight here. I'm going to close this section here. My neckline is going to stay the same. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to grab my darning needle, which I've already prepped with my orange color, because we're joining the orange color to join up we're using the orange color to join all our panels. So I have mine here. I'm just going to line up my work here very nice and straight, and I'm going to start in this very corner here. I'm going to go through both of these loops here, and then both loops on the other side. Let's go into this one, and then I just pull, and then I go ahead and knot this section here to make sure it doesn't come apart on me. So knot and knot. And then I am just going to line up my stitches nice and straight. And I'm going to go through both loops here. I'm just going to grab these two loops, go like this. I'm going to pull. Oops. And pull. And like that. And you don't pull it too tight because you don't want it to wrinkle up on you. Then you go into the next stitch right here and you pull. Then you go into the next stitch right here and you pull. And into the next stitch right here. Okay, so all you're doing here is just joining your two panels together. This is how I'm doing my joining. If you happen to do joining any other way, any other technique that you find to be more agreeable with you, just more better looking, whatever the case is, please go ahead and join it using your own technique. I'm just showing this as the way I'm doing it, okay? And as you can see, I'm not pulling it too tight at all because I want it to not kind of wrinkle up too much on top here, okay? Because otherwise this is gonna look too bunched up if we pull too hard. As you can see, I just go all the way, and I have not gone to where the stitch marker is yet, but I'm going to show you guys how the other side looks like. This is how the top of it's going to look like, okay? So that's the result of what you're looking for. If it's not how you like it, please look at other techniques on how to join it, and then go ahead and follow that technique. And then I remove my stitch marker, and I go into that stitch that has my stitch marker. I'm going to pull that, and then I'm going to just do one more in the next one here. Why not? And then I am going to go into that final stitch that I just did, and I'm gonna wrap my yarn around the darning needle. Okay, let's undo this here so that it doesn't bunch up. And this often happens when the yarn is too long, but I needed it too long so I can just cut it and continue on the other side and not have to put new yarn in the darning needle every time. Okay, there you go. And I'm going to do it one more time. And this just kind of secures it. So I'm looping it like that so that it kind of locks it in its place properly. And then I take my scissors and I just cut it somewhere there like this, okay? I'm going to leave these here like this in case I need to make any changes to my joining, so I don't remove these at all. Then I just flip my work to the other side and I do the exact same thing on this side. But here, remember that we need to go into that second last because I increased by one stitch over there, so I need to make sure I do it on this side as well. So I'm gonna join these here and then come back when it's done so I can show you what to do next in terms of joining our panels together. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed joining my top here. So as you can see, I did both the right and the left, leaving my neckline right here. So pretty big, nice and loose. That's what I want. Of course, if you want it to be tighter, you could always increase by joining it a little bit more to make sure the neckline is a little bit smaller. I'm just doing it like this because this is what I prefer, okay? So now that we have joined this part of the dress, I'm going to show you an easy way for me to join the sleeves to it, because you don't have to do anything beside just grabbing one of your sleeves and putting it against the side of your work like this and joining it. So this is going to be joined from here to here. We don't have a choice to make it any bigger or any smaller than this. We just need to be able to make sure we're joining it like this, okay? but I'm gonna show you an easy way to do it, and then I'm gonna have you guys join your panels together on your own. Okay, so what I do that makes it a little bit easier for me to do it is I put my work like this. So as you can see, this is my neckline here. I put it down like this. I'm gonna just put it here like this, and then what I do is I take a sleeve and I put a sleeve like this. Okay, I make sure I measure the middle and that this side to this side is exactly the same. And then I pretty much join it like this. So I will grab it like this and join it all the way from here to here. And this joins this part of the sleeve to the dress, okay, the body of the dress. And then I do the exact same thing on the other side. And then when you flip it eventually, when you bring it back like this, when you bring it back, sorry, it's a little bit big to work with, so that when you bring it back like this part would be joined to your dress like this after you have done that, because all you're doing is just making this side here flat and then lining it up with this and joining it like that. And then when you fold it back, it just puts the sleeve on it like this. Okay, and so the sleeve is going to be joined to your dress like this, and then you do the same on the other side. Okay, so that's 2 steps that you have to do. This side, join it to the body, and on this side, repeat the exact same thing. When that's done, we have the rest of the body to join, which means then you have the sleeve here to join all the way from here to the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to continue to use the yellow, the orange yarn to join all the way from the bottom here to there. Okay, but make sure you're joining this part to the body first before you do this, because it's gonna make it easier. And then when that's done, okay, so these would be joined here, and then this is the next, the length here will be the next, and then from the bottom here where the armpit will go, we join it all the way to the bottom here. Okay, and then we repeat the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm not coming on video to show you this because it's literally the same technique that we used here, except you're just making sure you're putting all of your panels together, the body, the sleeves, all of that. So I will have you guys go ahead and do the joining, join this, join the rest of the body, flip it to the other side, do exactly the same. And then when you have had your full dress completed joined, come back to the video. And I will do the same to show you how mine look like when it's all done like that, okay? See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and joined the dress. So everything is done. All the sides are done. The sleeves are done. Everything is done, okay? So this is pretty much the whole thing here. I have weaved in all of my ends as well, so I don't have anything hanging anywhere. The exception here is I ended up adjusting my neckline a little bit. I did end it at where the red starts here earlier, and then I put it on right after I joined everything, and I found that it was way too wide and I did not like the look of it, so I decided to just kind of bring it in more. So this is pretty much now my neckline here. It's a little bit smaller. My head does go through it, so it's not that small, but in terms of how it looks, it's not falling off my shoulders like it did when I had it up to here, okay? Which I like it like this better. So that's the only change that I did. If you like it the way it looks in the pictures, then make sure you're doing the sewing here so that it's smaller. But if you like it different, go ahead and make it wider. And by the way, just a tip, I do this with almost everything. Any sweaters I make, any dresses that I need to consider the neckline, I often leave it really wide at the beginning. And then I try it on and I see how it looks, and then I adjust it, okay? Because if your intention is not to leave it wide on purpose, then just don't bring it in. It's gonna be easier for you to just kind of sew a little bit more in than to remove it. So that's why I do it like that. But anyways, this is pretty much the end of it here. So as you will see in the pictures, this is how it looks like. So thank you so much for watching this video. Go ahead and subscribe and comment, like, share. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. Okay, thank you so much again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.